Don't forget, you're always on camera. This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And this is David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Okay, always on camera. Are you referring to police body cams?
Yes, I think people a lot of times will forget that they're being recorded and every single thing they say is memorialized on the officer's body camera. A lot of times they're wearing glasses and they have a camera, a little camera that's attached to the corner of their glasses, and the officer's capturing everything.
Wow, that is, it's sort of freaky if you think about it, like being, knowing that you're being recorded all the time. So this is pretty unnerving for somebody who is being detained or potentially arrested for doing something, that anything they say is recorded and it's going to be held against them, right?
Absolutely. And, the officer is also being recorded. So, there's good and bad that goes along with that. But I would say more times than not, the body camera footage actually helps me defend my clients.
Wow, so the body camera footage ends up being good for the client, then, you're saying?
Exactly, because a lot of times the officer is, writing a report and he's going to write it however he wants to, and it's definitely not going to be in a light most favorable to the client. And so they're going to leave out some really important details that will help me defend them. So I always read the report, talk to the client, and then compare that with what's actually on the body camera footage. And, if anything was done incorrectly, then I'm going to use that against the officer.
Okay, so what's an example of something that might be done incorrectly?
Well, like with a DUI investigation, the officer, has made the determination to arrest somebody and they've taken you to jail, and they're going to ask you to provide them with a sample. And if you're submitting to a breath test at the jail, there's a machine that you blow into, and there's very specific things that the officer needs to do in order for that breath sample to be used against you. And one of those things is that they need to observe you for 15 minutes prior to you taking the breath sample.
Okay, so this is now maybe back at the station. This is no longer by the side of the road. They're back at the station, and you're saying this is still being recorded, and they need to sort of have 15 minutes of nothing happening other than them recording you? And have you seen that sometimes doesn't happen?
That, you'd be surprised the number of times that doesn't happen correctly. A lot of times an officer is, he's read you the implied consent and asked you to submit to a breath test, and if you've agreed to take the breath test, then the next thing he needs to do is record what time you agreed to take it and what time he started to observe you. And it's just on a checklist. They have to do it. It has to do with the science of the machine. And sometimes they'll, get up and go do something else and leave my client sitting there and not being observed. Or we even had the craziest thing happen where the client said, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom," and the officer said, "Sure," and let the person go to the bathroom, and clearly interrupted the observation period. So that was a good reason for us to get rid of the breath test in that case, and then he got a really good deal.
I was going to say, yeah, that sounds like a clear-cut case, and it's all being recorded, so that's not just the officer's word against the other guy, the client. There's evidence that says, look, he wasn't observing here.
Correct. And, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong in a DUI investigation, even out in the field. The officer needs to be very specific and clear on, say, the instructions of how to do the field sobriety tests. And a lot of times, especially with a new officer, they're going to mess that up and then say you made a mistake, when really they just didn't give the directions clearly or correctly.
Okay, so this all points to everybody needs a good lawyer. So how do they get in touch with you?
We'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.